What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of Lambgoat's Vanflip podcast. Today, I am joined by Alex from Despised Icon, just one of the many Alexes that are in the group we found out recently. Alex, welcome to the show. New album, new everything coming out. So it's been a busy day, I'm sure, for you today.
Right on. Thanks for having me. Still to this day, Lambgoat is my one and only source of information for everything regarding metal and hardcore. So happy to be here. Still can't read the comments though. Still can't.
It's okay. It doesn't load up automatically anymore. You got to click into the comments section to get to the comments. But, I'm sure if we were to look at some, they wouldn't be as bad as you think. That's all I'll say.
I mean, in the 2000s, it was brutal. I can remember that. And I was in my 20s back then and not as equipped as I am right now to deal with that sort of criticism or just hate in general.
No, I feel
Recently, I saw you guys posted the news about our new single, and then I saw 16 comments, and then I'm like, normally if there's more than just a couple of comments, there's people talking shit, and then I just didn't find the heart to click on them.
Well, you don't have to be too scared to do so. Some of them could just be like spam comments of you, trying to spam you out of trying to work from home or something like that. That's the kind of some of the comments that we see regularly sometimes.
That's odd. What do you attribute that to?
Bangladesh and India.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
they just log onto your website and spam the shit out of it.
Yeah. So what happens is, you can comment anonymously on the website. So they're just basically like spamming all these articles with their little phrase of like, hey, my friend works from home making this much money a day. You should go to this website. And I guess if, you see that long enough, at some point, someone will go to that website. But the funny thing is we ran into Shai Halud one time a couple years ago. And then one of the guys was like, hey, I want to ask you a question. And then he just kind of like ratted off whatever the going at that time frame, whatever the, copy pasta work from home ad was. So it was quite funny. And it's just funny that, you all see it too. We see it. I see it. Everyone sees it, but you guys see it. The second I literally just clicked into your article from last month about the music video, and the top comment is, we pay $500 per hour for doing online work from home. So, I was trying to see if it was going to be good comments, but yeah.
Because I do remember back in the day, we were touring America full time, and whenever there was like a tour announcement, like, people would say like Vanflip, like, I hope these guys, Vanflip off a cliff or something,
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with that term.
Yeah. When I was discussing what to name the podcast, when I originally linked with Alex to do the podcast, originally was what my gig role here was, but I said it has to be Vanflip. I don't know, there's just like not another term synonymous with Lambgoat outside of like maybe First Post or something, or maybe now it's Goo, but at the time we didn't have Goo at the time, so I was like, it has to be the Vanflip podcast. And again, some people they don't necessarily like the name of the podcast, but I sit here, we're going to try to make a bad term good. We're just going to flip it. We're going to take it back,
All right. I feel you. Like I said, I go on the website a lot. It's at a point where I'm on my browser and I just type L and then it goes straight to Lambgoat. Talk to me about these banners. Obviously, you got to earn a living. There's an income that's generated with all that.
Oh, we're talking about the advertising banners?
Yes. Is there like an ad-free version?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you actually mentioned it, Alex. There is an ad-free version.
Some of those adverts are horrible, dude. They're bad for the user experience. If I can mention it.
I can understand that. Admittedly, because I have an account that's paid, right? Like technically a paid account. I don't see the ads, and I also don't. I use a blocker when I'm on my desktop, so I don't see the ads in general for the most part on any website.
Okay,
but yeah, we do have an ad-free side of Lambgoat for $2.99 a month. You can just sign up, get an account, and view it without ads. And then there's a couple other perks involved in that too. We're really hashing that out as far as pushing it for next year. It's been set up. It's just the flow is the sign up flow is probably not the best to get an account in general. So not let alone a paid account. So we're working on that. So you can tell the other bands that are interested in joining and getting an ad-free account that it's coming. I mean, you can definitely get it, but the flow is just not ideal. So we're working on that. But for
I
anyone
mean,
who's wondering, yeah, $3
$3 a month is actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So
And we would make more than that, I think, if you weren't paying for it, we would make more off of you. So we make, in theory, less, I guess.
okay, gotcha. So don't pay the $3 an hour.
Hey, I mean, do what you
Don't
want.
pay the $3 a month. That way we encourage you more.
Do what you want. I mean, again, I'm not trying to like run people off the website either. I know there's a balance between, site usability and visibility and just, because when I have to stream a sporting event illegally through my phone or through the computer, you click especially on your phone, you click a bunch of places and next thing you know, you have a bunch of windows popping up. But either way, I digress. Shadow Work, right?
Yes, sir.
October
New
31st, new record.
Halloween Day.
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming out that day too.
Who else? Enlighten me.
Oh man, we go to another feature here on lambgoat.com. Just go to releases, I don't know if you're familiar with that feature.
I haven't clicked on it as of late. Do tell.
It's just basically a list of releases that are coming out on whatever said day, So
I know you guys do like reviews.
we do reviews.
Album reviews.
Reviews are back. I made sure that was a point to bring those back. God, my internet is taking forever. There are a bunch of things coming out. Of course, as I say that, I can't rattle them off the top of my dome. But let's see here. We got some Transcending Obscurity's got a couple releases coming out. Dwelling Below. They've got one. Who else is? Got Avatar, Saint Agnes. Spite's got Spite's got a new record. Trivium's got an EP coming out. There's a couple things, but again,
Yeah,
I guess it's a big day,
I'm on the
Hallows Eve.
I'm on the website right now.
Yeah, you got Avatar, Barren Path, Bloom, Crucifixion, D's Nuts, Despised Icon. You guys.
That's
Frontierer.
That is true. These nuts.
D's Nuts. Hope
No,
deferred.
I just toured a lot with them, so I like the fact that they're still out there putting out music as well,
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of music as well, you guys took a little bit of a longer, I wouldn't say a longer break because between 2009 and 2016 was a gap that you guys didn't have an album, but then you guys released another one right before the pandemic. However, since then, it's been almost 6 years to the day almost with the release that this would be. So like, why was there such a bigger gap between this one with the last previous ones?
I mean, the explanation behind that second gap has a lot to do with the first gap. So we broke up in 2010. Everybody, we were all, close to our 30s back then, and a lot of us had like new career opportunities or we're starting families and whatnot. So that was the mindset stepping into our 30s, putting the band aside to focus on other aspects of life. And one thing led to another, and then we started hanging out again and did a couple of reunion shows and then started writing just for the fun of it. And it just came naturally and we just started missing it a lot. So that's why we, got back together 2015, signed a Nuclear Blast, put out Beast, our comeback record in 2016. And ever since then, we've just been like a part-time band. We treat everything professionally, but it's still a part-time thing in a sense that the focus is, the career, the family, the life at home. And this is all just a nice bonus. So we still, write, record, tour. But, in regards to touring, it's like 20, 25 shows a year.
Yeah.
We'll do America a year, then Europe the next, and, sprinkle that with, a few shows in Canada, our motherland. And, yeah, creatively, it's just, I feel as though I mean, it feels great, the older we get, we're grounded in this life of responsibility and obligations and bills and whatnot. But the whole music aspect just makes me feel young, just keeps me grounded, keeps me, makes me feel alive. Uh, but it's not just fun and games. So sometimes I just have to put all that creativity in a drawer and then go back to my 9 to 5 or set time aside for myself or for my relationship, friendship, family life, all that. So it's still pretty much a focus, but everything takes a lot more time now.
Yeah.
And 2019 is, as much as I'm saying how everybody's focusing on the life at home, I was sort of the exception to that. So 2019, I was still touring full time, alternating between Despised Icon and Obey the Brave, which was my other band, and we were releasing music on Epitaph, and then just alternating between tour schedules, album schedules, recordings, and whatnot. And then 2019 is when I sort of like caught up with the rest of my bandmates in Despised Icon and decided to figure out what my life was outside of music, achieve ego death and have my identity grounded in the Montreal life and things that have nothing to do with the spotlight or this attention that we're getting from the musical part of our lives. And so I just had to relearn how to live, rebuild myself mentally, physically, financially. Just needed that big break to feel whole again and step back into the creative aspect of my life with a new set of eyes and ears thanks to that break. So that explains that second gap between 2019 and 2025 right now, in between Purgatory and Shadow Work. And I feel like the band and the record benefited from that because back in the day, there was this magic with, being in the studio and just getting back from tour and you're in the studio and you're literally in the booth writing half of a record as you're recording it, a lot of raw energy. But then I find myself revisiting these records and being like, yo, this line sucks or this riff could have been better and whatnot. And so that shaped my outlook, my perspective, and my intentions when writing this new record. Have everything be tweaked, worked, reworked, as purposeful, as sincere as possible, so that, now I revisit this record, Shadow Work, because, it's been done for a little while and I'm still as proud of as I was about this record in the first place. So, yeah.
Interesting. One of the things that I realized, and you could maybe expand on this a little bit, I could just be completely wrong, but Yannick kind of stepped away from the band around the time frame that you guys released your last album. But are there no samples or anything like that basically on this new record? Because that was his contribution leading up to then, and then he was a guitar player, but you also have a rhythm guitar player. So I just didn't know if is that.
I think that's because of the bio on Wikipedia, and I don't know who updates
Nerds.
that,
I think
but
nerds with a lot of time. Nerds with a lot of time.
so attention nerds. Yannick Saint-Amand, he started out in '02 as one of the two guitar players in Despised Icon. So he played with us for Consumed by Your Poison and The Healing Process. And then towards the end of that record cycle for The Healing Process, so that's 2006, he was the first of us to, step into that whole new world of being a dad and whatnot. So he decided to make that his focus. He's had 4 kids now, and he's the best dad. And like I he tells me how he raises his kids, and I'm not a dad myself, and I have no intention of being one, but it's very much like the real deal. Like they're at home, and when it's dinner time, they put all of their phones in a hat, somewhere, and they have actual conversations, and they connect and whatnot. So
Yeah.
he wanted to make that his life, and I have so much respect for that. If you're going to be doing it, do it for real. But anyways, so he stepped out, but he's always been involved in the band. He's always kept in touch with us. He's always been a friend, and he's always recorded every record. So he's always been part of that picture. And when we broke up in 2010, well, we called it a day. And then when we started to be a band again, we spoke with Yannick, and he was like, "Yo, boys, I wanna tour with the band again, but as the sound engineer, because he was always recording our bands, and he has that fascination with sound production. So he's our front of house. We don't tour without him. We don't play a show without him. He's very much like the seventh member of the band. He's been through a lot with us, through thick and thin. He knows who we are as individuals, as musicians. He knows what this band is. He knows how we're supposed to sound, how we're supposed not to sound. He's got his hand on the fader for every single little part, all these details. And I would like to think that's why we sound so well. So that is Yannick's implication back then and now, still to this day.
Well, we'll get it. Hopefully, someone will re-edit that on Wikipedia or something like that, so we can get some right information circulating around now.
We're not like Slipknot. He's not like on stage, like
No, but he could definitely,
cans,
he could definitely
with
be
a turntable and shit.
He could definitely be triggering some stuff from the sound engineer spot, though. If need be, if you need a little, sample to be played or a snare hit or a bass drop, he can trigger something for you back there, and he doesn't have to take the limelight away from you guys on stage. That's the best part.
True.
But anyway, Shadow Work. You guys are doing. I'm assuming that the name of that comes from some kind of internal shadow work of yourself, ego, death, and all that kind of stuff. Correct? Is that am I right going down that road?
That is correct. A very introspective record indeed.
Interesting. Is this something? Because the last one was Purgatorio, or not Purgatorio. I'm getting that mixed
Purgatory.
up. Yeah, Purgatorio was something that we did with 18 Visions, so I apologize.
Okay.
However, does that kind of play? Does the previous records, lyrical content, kind of also play on this records? One could say from the outside looking in that you released an album called Purgatory, and then you released an album called Shadow Work. There seems to be some work that has been done maybe for someone who might have been in a dark place when Purgatory came out.
Absolutely. I mean, you pretty much summed it up there, but if we want to dive deeper here,
sure.
The context is I played drums on the first record, so I was not the original vocalist. I was the original drummer. And when we started writing, recording The Healing Process, our second record, Mary, who was one of the two vocalists at the time, decided to step away. And I had this vision of what I wanted our band to be. And to achieve that vision, I felt as though I needed to step away from the drums, become one of the two vocalists, and hire our friend Alex Grind, because he's an amazing drummer, and he could pull off a bunch of shit that I could not back then and still cannot. So to get to that next level shit, that's how things had to be. But all of a sudden, writing this new record, well, back then, which was The Healing Process, I was like, wait a minute, I'm an introvert, not so much shy. I just keep a lot of things to myself. So what am I gonna write about here? So a lot of it had to do with fiction or just, I don't know, abstract poetry, or I don't know how to properly put it. I think Steve and I were watching American Psycho too often and listening to Pig Destroyer, and that was sort of like how things started out, writing the lyrics. And then as I got more comfortable interacting, this band and music in general got me out of my shell, helped me deal with a whole bunch of, obstacles, emotions that were hard to deal with. And my situation is not any different than anyone else's. We all go through rough stuff, hardship and whatnot. And this band or music in general was my way of dealing with it all. It's a coping mechanism. It's that catharsis effect of turning that negative into a positive instead of just, pressing on that self-destruct button. So as I got more comfortable with writing, it was less and less fictional, and we got to Purgatory, the record that you just mentioned, which was me acknowledging a lot of things that were going that were not right in my life, and then as time went by and I got older, I figured that it's one thing to make that assessment and be transparent and talk about it, but it's a whole other thing to actually implement, that sustainable change to be a better person, be a better friend, boyfriend, son, and so on and so forth, and not just sweep things under the rug and talk about them without doing anything about it. So shadow work is that deep dive into, correcting a lot of things and bettering myself, whether it's mentally, physically, financially, all of the above. That's shadow work to me. And we hired a friend, his name is Erian Cantor, to do this album cover, to have, translate that lyrical expression into images. And I feel like it's spot on. It's someone literally ripping his jaw out of his mouth and coronating himself like a sort of like a crown of sorrows, so to speak. And then there's that gaping hole of a mouth, and it's a doorway into one's self. Maybe I'm over rationalizing things or whatever, but I like it, man. I dig it. It's a badass cover.
Yeah, it definitely is a unique cover. It stands out. And you know what? It originally I didn't see it because I'm not studying each record album cover that comes out anymore these days. I used to do that a lot back in the day and just nitpick everything. But when I had it in my hand, however,
how old are you, David?
42.
How old are you, David?
I just turned 42. Yeah.
Okay, happy birthday! I just turned 45. So you and I's generation, we would go to record stores and we would purchase, the latest death metal CD, just, in certain case, just based on that album cover.
Yeah.
And what I like about this association with Erian and his art in general is that sort of brings me back. This is something that I want to identify with. It's something that's I'm looking at the album cover right now. It's something that intrigued me, and so not only as like a songwriter and lyricist for the band, I also do all of the art direction behind music videos, merchandise, album illustrations, covers, and whatnot. So for me, it's very important to have the visual aspect represent and complement everything that's sonically going on.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was. I thought it was a crown at first, and then when I looked at it for more than 2 seconds, I realized he ripped his jaw off and then put it up there. But that's what I was trying to get. That's what I was trying to get out there.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
So when I realized it was like a jaw, I was like, oh, that makes so much more. It makes it that much more badass. But yeah,
sure is.
Although for me personally, I'm not a big fan of the color red. So it's usually like I have an off-putting feeling when I'm looking at red, or if I'm in a red room or something like that. So that also plays into it. You know what I mean? For me, I should say.
When we met up with Erian in Berlin last time we played there, or the previous, we were the beauty of it. This was like a 5-minute conversation. Sometimes it takes weeks, days, months. And this was just like a 5-minute conversation of me tossing a few ideas and him just sort of meshing a few of them together to come up with this concept. And in regards to the color itself, I was like, Erian, we have a sort of like a theme to every record. Healing Process was orange. Purgatory was black. Beast was green. What do you feel? How do you feel about not so much red, but burgundy? That sense to highlight that sense of urgency, and he was all about it. And then we were like, "Yeah, all right. What are you up to? What are you up to tomorrow?"
Is this something that he did digitally, like with an iPad, or is this like an actual oil painting on canvas, or?
It's illustration. He's the real deal.
So physically and not digitally, is that what you're trying to say?
From what I understand, yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, I know a lot of artists these days can do all sorts of weird textures and make things look like they've been painted on canvas or
Uh-huh.
watercolor or anything like that on an iPad these days. Not that that's a bad or good thing. I'm just saying I get confused all the time, but I'm a stickler for physical media, so I like that that's out there physically in the world somewhere too.
I would agree. I'm afraid of AI.
I don't necessarily know if I'm afraid of AI. I just don't know what will come or what won't come from it. Will it be good? Will it be bad? I don't think anyone really knows. We'll just have to fucking deal with that when it happens. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing either.
I mean, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, The Matrix,
Yeah, but then
some
Alec,
of my favorite movies that sort of like got my
yeah,
mind wandering in
but
that
then
direction.
that plays into the fact or the conspiracy that Hollywood's showing you what is happening via like movies and TV. So if
Whether
that is
it's
true,
Hollywood or Jules Verne back in the day, writing these novels about going to the moon and whatnot, or uh, yeah, I mean,
we'll just have to
we'll just
see.
have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not going to get the brain implant or I'm not going to do any of it, right? But we'll wait and see.
I mean, the only incentive to the brain implant or Neuralink would be for me personally, if I would be dealing with dementia.
Mm,
So, from what I understand, what they're working on could be a solution to that. And
interesting.
having dementia in my family and seeing, what it leads to, hell no, man. I want all of my brains. So if that's the
That's different. Yeah,
compromise I
yeah.
have to do, then that right now would be the only case. But I'm not going into what's that show on Netflix again?
Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to like have like a I don't want to be like recording shit and then replaying it in my head and
Mm.
whatnot. I'm not there. No,
I
definitely
was just
not.
wanting to maybe up my KDR and my eye hand coordination on like Call of Duty with I feel like if
What
wherever
is
you look,
KDR?
kill death ratio ratio. Basically, like per match you kill like X amount of people to your one death, or if you suck you have if you're like if you are bad you're one for one, meaning you kill one person every time you die. But if you kill multiple
Okay.
people, you have a higher like a 3-to-1 KDR or whatever. I would just want to use it for that, hand eye cord, like wherever I look on the map I can shoot right away, and
Okay.
less latency lag and stuff. I'm really getting it.
All right. Cool. I'm not so much into video
It
games.
was a joke, so it
Uh,
doesn't even matter. It was a bad it landed really bad and horribly, so I will take that one to the grave. We'll move on because you rarely do tours because everyone is a grown up and has their own thing going on, which is more commendable than you probably realize. But
what is the target audience for Lambgoat? Are we talking still in the 20s or people have grown up, they're more like 30s or is
I
it still pretty much like the new generation that
I
are
think
just
it's
getting into
us.
this
I
all?
think it's a
It's
bunch of I
us?
think it's a bunch of us's and some new jacks. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of yeah, a lot of 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, at least on like social media and YouTube where you can see that kind of demographic data.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Interesting.
so we do have, but we've seen the younger cats start to come to the website. Hardcore has lured everybody in to ruin their life a little bit more in the last couple of years. So come, my children. I don't care. Find out what comment sections used to be like on the internet back in the day. But anyway, back to the touring. You're going on tour.
Yes,
Um,
we are.
you're headed out with Sanguis Sugabog, Defeated Saint Sanity, and Corpse Pile. Do you guys like have Do you guys get offered packages, or do you guys kind of have your ear to the ground and you guys want this band or that band? If these bands can't make it, then this band. Or do you have like a pulse on the generational come up music as well?
A bit of everything that you just mentioned. We are self-managed. Eric and I,
Nice.
my guitar player and I, we always co-managed this band. Uh, there was maybe a year and a half towards the end of the first era of the Spies in 2010 that we had a manager, but that was short-lived. So I just, out of pure curiosity and just love for the scene, I just, as you said, try to keep my ear to the ground and keep up with the new generation. And I understand there's quite a bit of nostalgia attached to our band. And whenever people, what are your influences and whatnot, I always name the bands that, got us into this shit in the first place in the 90s. But I like to acknowledge the new generation, these new bands, they're killing it, man. And it's awesome to see music, heavy music, extreme music be this popular nowadays because it opens doors for everyone involved. So when I do see hate online, I'm like, don't you get it, man? Like this band's killing it, and they're opening doors for your shitty band, that nobody likes. So
Yeah.
just, it's just music. Have fun with it. Uh, oh shit, I just said that, didn't I?
I thought you were. I
Too
thought you
late.
didn't. I thought you don't read the Lambgoat comments, though, man. I don't know.
No, it's comments in general.
No, I get
As I
it.
said, I try to stay away, but admittingly, I have been paying attention more lately because this is an album campaign, and we've worked so hard on this, and it's not just my little self that's involved here. We're
Right.
signed to a label, and we have a booking agent here and a booking agent in Europe, and we want everyone involved to be happy because their income depends on that as well. So I'm a pleaser. Not
People
really,
pleaser.
actually.
People pleaser.
Um, so I just lost my train of thought. What are we talking about
We're
right
talking
now?
about the tour coming up and the bands you are
The
bringing
tour
out.
coming up, the bands. So yes, shout out to the new bands. They're killing it, and I'm happy to be playing with a new band like Sangi Sugabog, well, not so new, I guess, recent, but newer than we are, you know, Corpse Pile, super heavy, a lot of regionals on this on the regional bands on this tour, a bit of the old, a bit of the new. I don't know so much the newer bands, but I am stoked to tour with Gorgasm, play a
Hmm.
couple of shows with our old friends in Skinless, and when the time comes to decide, what tour are we going to do, it's a bit of all that. It's recognizing the new talent and wanting to play with bands like that, and also playing with old friends, literally. So
Yeah.
a
Um.
mixture of both.
How
It's one good tour a year. That's
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
that's my
So
mandate. Just figuring out that one tour a year. That's we have no ambition of becoming bigger or anything. We're just trying to sustain so that we can keep on doing what we love, which is
yeah.
playing music and traveling, with people that I've known and been a band with for over half of my life.
Does it is it hard to decide? Well, I mean, you guys have like I don't know, seven, six members, not including your mascot, the sound guy. But like you guys have so many members, and they're doing other things outside of the band, real life things, whether it's family, work, or whatever. How difficult is it to decide or to even pick what month or what window you have in that coming year to do any of your live stuff? And does that kind of like, I mean, the festival stuff, depending on which area of the world, whether it's North America or Europe, they have a schedule, right? Like a festival season is usually the summertime. Does that play into like cutting into your personal vacation so you can't do those festival events because of that, and you decide to do a much like more in-depth tour later in the year? Or how do you go about selecting what part of the year you guys tour?
Great question. Typically, it's in the fall, just because for everyone involved, or for the most part, for it's the time of the year when things slow down at work. So it's easier for us to, you know, because ultimately this is our vacation time. We max out our vacation time
Yeah.
so that we can play these 20, 25 shows a year. Um, and then summertime, we still, try to have some times for ourselves, our families as well, and try to not compromise that because that's very important to us as well. I uh, I went to Florida with my girlfriend this summer, perfect time to do so, and if we were doing these summer festivals, then that would have not been an option.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just try to split myself into into the Alex boyfriend, the Alex son, the Alex friend, the Alex, manager of microbrewery, the Alex vocalist of Despised Icon, Alex the manager, the whatever, and for try to disperse that time accurately, and it's fucking hard.
It's a lot of layers, like an onion, like peeling all the. It's like shadow work. You're peeling all the little layers off.
Yeah.
I just curious because like, have you guys dabbled in the summer festival route? Have you
Quite a lot
guys?
in the
Okay,
past.
yeah,
Quite a
yeah.
lot in the past. Those are good times, man. But not so much now.
Like the recent bigger ones, like the Danny Wilmer ones, like Rockville or Incarceration, Aftershock. Any of those bigger ones?
Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. We find ourselves turning down opportunities just because we're not available. So it's
Do you
yeah,
think?
we just try to whatever makes sense in everybody's lives, and we've turned down big offers and big tours as well, and then you just you see pictures and videos of those tours taking place without you, and then you're
Right.
like, fuck.
Right.
But it is what it is. At the end of the day, we're in a fortunate position where we can play music part time and it be sustainable and have whether it's people that have been encouraging us for decades or people that are just tuning in, nobody owes us anything. So the fact that there are people out there supporting our band now more than ever, I realize how lucky we are and how appreciative I am of these people and these opportunities. But we can't be everywhere all at once. Hence why we have to pace ourselves and release music sporadically and not tour often. But that's the beauty of it as well. I would like to think that when we're on tour or this upcoming tour, this is our first time touring America in 2 years. Some of these cities we haven't played in over 5 years, So people, I think they recognize the fact that if they want to see us live, they have to either travel or show up and hang out. Otherwise, it's going to take a while for us to come back. So for a lot of people, that's their one and only opportunity to see us. And what's nice is for a lot of people, it's because of that, it's their first time seeing us live. And that's awesome. That's tremendous because I recognize that there's all this nostalgia attached to Despised Icon, but I'm still very much focused on the here, the now, the future, and being the best that I can be as a person and as a musician. So playing in front of these new people, it's awesome, man. That's opportunity for us to play music and travel for the years to come. So very thankful for that.
Do you think it hurts or hinders your turning down of the offers throughout the years for the band? Do you think it makes it more non-accessible, which makes the fan base want it more, or do you think they get it, or do you think a certain part of the fan base gets annoyed because they don't get to see you that often?
It's a thin line, man. It's you're dabbling with being perhaps forgotten or, creating that sort of exclusivity to a despised icon performance in your city. I'm sure people, stop caring because of the fact that we don't play music often or don't put out music often. And for other people, it's quite the opposite. For them, it's a special thing that we're putting out new music for the first time in 6 years. And but to each their own, nobody owes us anything. So if you want to join and listen to this podcast or listen to our new record, you know, then what's up? Happy to see you. And if you don't, then that's okay too.
Yeah, I was curious because it. I can see it going both ways, but also, like, do you guys do anything? Would you say you do anything to kind of alleviate the stresses of the fan, like for the fan base on that? Like, do you guys do something more prevalently online through social media, or do you consciously try to do stuff with the band to make it more to bridge that gap? I guess.
Um, I don't know if bands disclose this nowadays, but we have a social media manager. Her name is Jackie. She's awesome. And I think what makes this possible is that she's a friend of mine and of the band. So she gets us and, you know, promotes our band, you know, in an accurate, the accurate way. Obviously, I have a lot of input in regards to all that, but I in real life, you know, I deleted. I don't have the Instagram. I don't have social media apps on my phone, so I don't pay attention as often as maybe I should, as you know, someone that you know manages and promotes this band. But I just you know, again, you're 42, I'm 45. We grew up before the internet, you know, before social media, before smartphones, and I'm reconnecting with that because it's just so overpowering and it just, I don't know, it's just too much, you know. I find myself having the new iPhone and I make a conscious effort to look at it, you know, the least amount of time as possible throughout the day because to me it's, you know, emails is work, social
Yeah.
media is work, so I try to set that aside. So what I'm trying to say is when we write, when we do these things, these tours, I don't really, for the most part, pay attention a lot to what's being written, and I do it in a singular way that you know, what do I want to hear as a vocalist or as a songwriter in Despise? You know, I tried not to, you know, I said earlier I'm a pleaser, but it's quite the opposite. This is a very personal journey, and so I find myself, you know, disconnecting from the internet or not going on Apple Music and not listening to anyone just so it's not, you know, the creativity isn't influenced or altered by other people's music or comments. And I just drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, through that pain, that's how our music is as sincere and purposeful as possible. Yeah, I think yeah, that's all that comes to mind at the moment.
That's fine. That is a lengthy and in-depth answer, Alex. So by all means, yeah, I think you covered it
I,
all.
I I'm actually here, not here. I'm overworked at the moment,
Right.
and
Just
I'm
blacking out
kind of
like
in
in
yeah,
Anchorman.
I'm kind of in zombie mode.
Yeah.
So just know that I'm happy to be here, but sometimes I just wait. Did all of that just come out of my
Yeah,
mouth?
yeah, I
I
did.
was
And we're gonna keep it rolling. But the other thing
keep it
I
rolling.
the other thing I want to discuss with you because I also have ties to Montreal and Quebec as well.
Right on.
Half my
Do
family was
tell.
from there as well. Even though I live in Florida, I've born here in Florida. My family is from right outside of Ontario, Ottawa, Gatineau, Quebec,
Gatineau.
and they
So
spent some time in Montreal as well.
okay, right on. So Gatineau is not in Ontario. It's right next
Quebec.
to Ottawa in our province, which is Quebec. So a lot of French-speaking people in Gatineau. Do you have any relatives that speak French at
All of
all?
them. Well,
What's your last name, David? Can you disclose that?
yeah, I can, but it's Truax, but I think it's from like Amsterdam, so it's like French adjacent,
Okay.
right? But that's my mom's side of the family is from Canada. My dad's side is not from Canada, so
And where in Florida do you live?
Jacksonville. So we're right here, South Florida, North Georgia, baby.
Cool, cool. I have family in Fort Lauderdale. Uh,
Oh,
a
I
lot
mean,
of us,
I think all
lot of us
Canadians.
Quebecers,
Yeah,
they go to Fort Lauderdale
I was talking to somebody the other
to
day.
retire.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, every day there is, if I get on the highway or something like that, one or two every day, no matter what time of year it is, you'll see a Quebec license plate, and it's just,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I love it there, man. I go there to do nothing, just disconnect, and you know, I have Egyptian blood, so I think like these Canadian winters, I'll just never get used to them. So I like it when it's nice and warm.
yeah.
Normally, when people complain about, you know, warm temperatures, that's when I feel comfortable, you know?
I do
I'm in
love it.
Florida. It's like a nice sauna.
I growing up again. I mean, I've gone to Canada more than 100 times in my entire life, so I'm fully, I know what's going on up there sometimes.
Hmm.
But I grew up loving the cold weather and loving, being from Florida. There's no snow here except for the one time it snowed in 1989 that I was alive for. But there's no snow, there's no cold. It's freezing down here with the humidity and the ocean, being so close. So like the wind is very like icy cold, and it will cut through your clothes and like cut to your bones and stuff like that. So that's the difference that we have between like different humidity levels and coldness. Right? It's very frigid here, to where like I could be up where you guys are, no shirt on, t-shirt, and the air's dry, so it's not really as bad. But down here it gets nuts. However, I used to go up and stay in for Christmas around in Canada, and I'd have the window open in my room, and my parents and grandparents would just lose their mind because obviously it's like chilling the whole house. And I'm like, I like it because I like to get in the blanket and I get all warm and stuff. But now I find, dude, if it's cold, like I just came back from Reno last week, and it was like 50 degrees, 40 degrees with some breezes. And I was like, dude, I'm done. I need to get back to Florida where it's like 90 degrees.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, part of my life plan is when I get older, I would love to spend, winters in America or Florida specifically, to sort of like evade this crippling cold that we experience, for a very substantial part of the year.
Yeah, I get it.
And what you guys love AC, do you? I went to the AMC with my girlfriend to watch a movie, and it was ripping cold,
You
man.
got to
Like
bring a
it literally
blanket or jacket.
it took me half of the movie to just get used to it.
Yeah.
And then by the end, like I sort of got accustomed to it. And then my girlfriend and I stepped outside, and I was like, ah, yes,
Yeah. You know what?
Florida weather.
Speaking of AC and Florida, I have to, because people in this day and age, in this climate, whether it's political or regional or whatever,
Uh-huh.
everyone's got an opinion, and everyone wants to move somewhere else or live somewhere else, right? And I always try to tell people, especially here in Florida, they're like, "Oh my God, I just want to live, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Dude, we're right now is like the best time to be alive. Every day you wake up is the best time to be alive," is what I always say. But like,
Mhm.
we live in Florida, and there was a time not that long ago, less than 100 years ago, 60 years ago, where you could be in the hospital and there's no AC on in the hospital because it's not even invented yet or something like that. You're just in the
Sure.
hospital, sick or whatever, and it's just a balmy 98 degrees in there or something. We've come a long way, y'all.
Well, I can tell the AC is ripping cold at your place, David, because you're wearing a hoodie now. That's what's up.
Well, it is hoodie weather. Like I said, I went to Reno, didn't pack appropriately, so I didn't even have a hoodie to wear. I had to buy like a sweater there. Um,
Okay.
so I have like a million hoodies, and I just like to wear them, you know. And I don't get to wear them a lot down here. So when it becomes like slightly hoodie weather, the page turns, and I'm just it's death metal long sleeves and hoodies all day, all attire. My attire is that from now on.
That's a glass jaw hoodie, isn't it?
Correct. You know your
Yeah.
stuff.
I have so much band merchandise. I sort of like migrated to, getting a lot of blanks, but quality blanks, but also like stuff from the movies. So I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rocking the OG Alien right now.
I was gonna bring that up, but you did. I want to ask you one thing, and
Yes.
you don't have to answer this, so I'll preface it with it is borderline political, and because you're a Canadian and I'm a Floridian,
Yes.
and you
I'm
moonlight
listening.
back and forth. It sounds like so. As a Canadian living in Canada, living in whatever Trudeau's Canada or whatever, I think he's no longer there, if I'm correct.
No, he's no longer there.
Right.
We have a new prime minister. Trudeau is actually dating Katy Perry right now, from what I understand, living his best life.
Hell yeah. Why, as he should. Why not? She's been to space. But but you come to Florida and you said, you just mentioned that you would like to, eventually come down here and maybe reside here for
Mhm.
parts of the year. Does the, like as a Canadian who goes back and forth, you can see firsthand what Florida is like. So like, do you have conversations with people in your day to day up there that are like, no, Florida is definitely not like that, or do you think Florida is like it's being uh, talked about on like the media or whatever in the last couple of years? You know, because we've had a lot of ups and
It's
downs.
a lot of layers. I mean, I'm not a very political person. For me, it's always to each their own. I recognize that there are various point of views, and I think that's important. Things would suck if everyone, said the same things and thought the same things. So I feel like a lot of interesting conversations come from that, and that's ultimately how you grow as people and as a society. I see a lot of I see differences, but I also see a lot in common. Um, and the person that I am, for me, it's okay to have conversations or be friends with people that don't necessarily align with a specific set of values or ideology. I feel like you and I could get along even if we don't necessarily see eye to eye on certain points, and that's okay, man. Um, I think what was polarizing under when under the new American administration was the whole 51st state thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're Canadian. I mean, it's part of our identity, and we just want to keep things the way that they are, as simple as that. So when that narrative is just pushed to a certain extreme, I can understand how it makes some certain people uncomfortable or beyond that. Um, but when I do understand also that that affected tourism in America. A lot of people chose to boycott America because of that. But I love America, man. Like I spent a lot of time there. I was brought up in Montreal, French-speaking parents, and I learned about culture in general through American broadcasting, television, art, cinema, and that to me is relatable and it's part of who I am. I consume American media and art and movies and music, and I would not be the same person without that influence. And traveling to America for the first time in a little while after everything that just happened, I was sort of afraid to, you know, not be welcome in a country that I love so much. And it was quite the opposite. People at customs were as chill as they ever were. We need to apply for work visas to perform as Canadians in
Right.
America, and it's an intricate process, and you have to pay a lot of money. And this time around, it was just so simple, and everyone at customs were, pretty chill and welcoming. And then you speak with people in America, and they're, oh, you're from Canada. We're so happy to see you. And I'm sure it's not all across the board, but people are just so nice. And that's from my personal experience. And maybe it's just the people that I happen to meet or encounter during those trips. But all in all, yeah, I'm going back on tour in the U.S. in exactly 2 weeks, and I'm
Yep.
super excited. And America is where it's all started for Despised Icon, in a sense that, first couple of years, we played 6 shows in Canada in 2002, 5 shows in Canada in 2003. And then when we started touring in 04, 05, our first big opportunities were in the US of A. And, they're the people that, I guess Despised Icon resonated with the most at first, signing to an American label and playing, in front of all these kids and these American venues and whatnot. And, you know, I'm a musician and I get to do this podcast or release music because of all that. So, yeah, definitely thankful for that. But then there's the contrast. There's the stuff that I don't understand, like guns scare me. And now, I feel like Florida, from what I understand, it's
Open
legal to
carry.
carry a gun,
Yep.
and that's not something that I understand, but it's okay that I don't understand, and it's okay that I don't necessarily agree with that, you know. Um, to each their own, man. It's all good.
Yeah,
Variety is
it's
the
a
spice of life, but I mean, it is what it is.
that's a weird touchy subject. I mean, I look at that particular thing, that particular topic as like I've been around people that are carrying guns all the time,
Hmm.
concealed. So in my head, I've always known that like anyone can have one on you at any time, yada yada
Hmm.
yada. So that is the only difference is like they're out now. Like you don't have to conceal it, right? They can be on your hip, out exterior of your clothes. So that's the difference. But the other thing is like, and people who may be worrisome about that or afraid of that is like you have the ability to also go ahead and arm yourself too, if you needed to do so or if you felt the need to. And again, like people don't feel the need to do that, and people feel the need to do that. Like you said, it's to each his own. But like I'm not going to be out here on the corner like with my gun being like, I am open carrying, this is freedom. I'm not that kind of guy, you know what I mean? But like you can I'm not going to say that guy can't do that either. He can do that, but you look like you look like a dick. So for whatever reason, but teach his own, like you said. I was just curious because it
As long as you're responsible, as long as you are respectful in your narrative and in your how do I say this? I don't want to rub people the wrong way, you know. I'm not that type of guy. As long as you're responsible and as long as you're not hateful, then I'm
just
just gonna have
don't
to
be a
agree to
dick, so to speak.
disagree, and yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's it. I mean again, people look at hunting differently. Everything can be seen and through so many different angles. There's so many different angles to view the world in general. So who's to say you have the right or I have the right viewpoint? No one.
Absolutely, but like I said, through these conversations, we progress, and
Correct. Yeah.
that's important.
Correct. I agree. Alex, Shadow Work, Halloween next Friday, new album, seventh
Yes,
album coming
yes.
out. Shortly after that, you're going to be on tour with Sanguisugabog. Excuse me, sorry, that was a burp. Sanguisugabog. Oh fuck, I forgot the other people.
Defeated Sanity, if you're into technical death
Corpse
metal,
Pile.
definitely check them out. And if you're into just that straight ignorant slam mosh, Corpse Pile, everything I've heard so far, they're sick. Yeah, good gym music, definitely.
Yes, yes. Speaking of gym music, if you want another track to add to your gym lifting playlist, you can hear Kublai Khan's Matt Honeycutt was on the first single that Despise Icons shared, I think, off of their new album, Over My Dead Body. That is a lifter as well. You can lift to that.
Very true,
Yeah.
very true. Pretty sure, pretty sure Matt had a pump right before, shooting that music video with us. I
Yeah.
think that's his way of getting into that, mindset of performing.
I think they call it swole. They call it swole. Yeah. Matt is kind of getting swole. All right, Alex, thank you very much. I'll cut you loose here. I don't know what your schedule is for the media day here, but I don't want to run any further than I already have. But I appreciate your time. And yeah, like I said, new album next week. Shadow Work comes out 31st. You're going on tour for a month after that. If you don't catch them, you may not catch them for what, a year or two, Alex, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do it
And if
now.
we missed your city, then just know that we'll try to we'll try to pass by
Next decade.
next time in 4 years.
Yeah. Just make the trip if you really want to go see some fucking, new deathcore. It's the seventh album from long-running Canadian Montreal deathcore band, Despise Icon. Alex, thank you very much, and I'll cut you loose here, brother.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for everyone at home that tuned in and hung out with us. And yeah, hope to see you on the road.
Yeah. Oh, and again, I appreciate your support and viewership of Lambgoat. Please don't ever stray away. And if you want to, you can look at the comments sometimes. Don't do it all the time, just sometimes.
I'll think about it. Thanks, buddy.
Take it easy.